Hello everyone, I am Dr. Saurabh Chaudhary, Associate Consultant GI Oncosurgery, Narayana Super Specialty Hospital, Howrah, and with me is Dr. Shumit Chandal. He is Senior Consultant GI Oncosurgery.
Narayana Super Specialty Hospital. Hello. Hello everyone.
Today we will discuss about some myths and facts regarding GI cancer, and there are many doubts among common people regarding cancer and their treatment protocol. So today we'll discuss one by one the symptoms, the myths and the actual facts regarding the cancer surgery and cancer treatment. First of all, I like to ask Dr. Shumit that when the people will tell what are the symptoms of GI cancer.
Okay, so first we divide the GI tract, that is the gastrointestinal tract, into three parts. Broadly speaking, it's a upper GI tract that includes esophagus and stomach. Then the hepatopancreatobiliary part and the lower GI part, basically the colorectals. Small bowel, I mean, not including because in these discussions, mostly the cancers of these three territories we will be discussing. So, depending on the site, the symptoms varies. Okay, so first, Dr. Shora will be telling on the symptoms of the upper GI tract cancers, mostly the esophagus and the stomach, which is very common.
Yes.
Yeah.
When patient suffers from cancer in upper GI tract, that is in esophagus and stomach, in esophagus patient usually feels problem during deglutations, during swallowing of food. There is complaining of something stucking in their throat, stucking inside their chest. Sometimes they complain of blood during expectoration and coughing. And in cancer of stomach, usually initial period patient don't have any symptoms except some dyspepsia. Patient usually complain of some gaseous distension, otherwise no complaint. But in advanced stage, usually they complain of pain in the abdomen and some tumor in the upper abdomen, etc. Occasional patient is present with large amount of vomiting after food intake. So what are the symptoms of hepatobiliary system?
Hepatobiliary very commonly, I mean, they present with jaundice, particularly the biliary ones. Very commonly they present with jaundice. So hepatopancreatobiliary per se. So if you have jaundice, sometimes you may have itching also all over the body. And if you notice that you are passing yellow urine along with yellow eyes, and if you have weight loss also, maybe sometimes you will find diabetes. You call it new onset diabetes. So with these three common symptoms, always it is a possibility that probably you will be harboring hepatopancreatobiliary malignancy underlying malignancy. So you have to be evaluated for that.
So is it true that every jaundice patient have tumor or malignancy?
Not necessarily, because today our topic is on GI cancer, that's why we are stressing on GI cancer, but not necessarily. Jaundice has so many causes. I mean, some will be medical causes, but some will be surgical. Among surgical, it can be stone disease, can be cancer, but obviously cancer is an important cause. We should not miss cancer.
Okay, so every jaundice is not associated with tumor. So don't panic about that. If you have jaundice which is associated with itching over your body and pale colored stool, then it is highly suspicious and you should consult the doctor. And what are the symptoms of lower GI tract, that is colon and rectum?
Very commonly it presents with bleeding PR. So any bleeding per rectum, it has to be evaluated for that. Again, I mean, there are multiple causes, many of the causes of bleeding PR, and benign causes is also equally important. But we should not miss cancers, because what we frequently find that once there is some lower GI bleed or bleeding PR, people invariably think that this is piles, and unfortunately sometimes the doctors also share the same belief. So sometimes the basic tests or the basic examination has not been done, and when we get the patients, we normally get it in a very advanced stage. So any bleeding per rectum, it has to be evaluated very, thoroughly. Both the history, the clinical examinations, if required some other special investigations, it has to be done. And if you have any weight loss or any pain abdomen, so from these we intensify our evaluation. So it should not be missed. That's the only thing I want to stress.
Nicely said. And one more thing I should add in this point, sometimes patient present with anemia, and many doctors overlook the diagnosis and they just transfuse blood, give iron supplementation. But whenever you have anemia, particularly postmenopausal female and elderly male patient, then you should look out for any underlying malignancy.
Exactly. If it is an iron deficiency anemia, definitely you should exclude the GI malignancy. It's a very important cause. Very important cause.
Now it is a broad good discussion over the symptoms of GI cancer. Now I will ask Dr. Sumit that what the patient should do when they have these symptoms.
First, they should visit definitely a specialist who deals with this type of problems. So that may be a medical gastroenterologist or a surgical gastroenterologist, and get them evaluated thoroughly. Only with thorough evaluations you can determine the cause exactly. Exactly what is happening to the patients. Obviously, the same symptoms, the cause may be different in different patients. So that has to be ascertained without any doubt.
Sometimes patient has symptoms of bloating sensation or dyspepsia, and they used to take antacid medications for the long duration. But if you have symptoms for long duration, you should consult gastroenterologist, and upper GI endoscopy or colonoscopy or any imaging studies of abdomen in the form of ultrasound or CT scan should be done to rule out any underlying.
Sometimes they have other alarming signs also, symptoms or signs also. Then definitely they have to undergo the test. And sometimes even they present, if it is an early, they can come without the other alarm symptoms also. So that's the time we should evaluate, and we should not miss any cancers, underlying cancer. Because if the cancer comes in an earlier stage, obviously the treatment and the outcomes are better.
Yes. So some people believe that cancer equal to death. It is not true. It is a myth. Cancer is curable if it is detected in the early stage. So whenever you have symptoms, you should consult your doctor and rule out the underlying malignancies.
Yeah, that's why I always stress on early detection. So you should not ignore any symptoms. If it is a persistent symptoms or even new onset symptoms, any symptoms, get it evaluated by a proper doctor. That's the most important thing. You should not miss any GI cancers.
There are another myth that when biopsy is taken, there is a chance of spread of cancer.
This is true in some sites, specific sites. Likely, very commonly what we find in case of cancer gallbladders, it's a very common findings. Most of the times, the patient come with some USG guided FNAC from the gallbladder mass. Frankly speaking, it is not needed for most of the this type of cancers, because this is all imaging diagnosis. For a gallbladder cancer, you definitely you do not need preoperative biopsy proof, provided it is resectable in the CT scan. But for sometimes some other types of cancer like esophageal cancer, stomach cancer, colon cancer, you need an biopsy so that you can guide your treatment depending on what you find in your biopsy specimen. So it is a very site specific. Where is the cancer? What is the treatment offered? Depending on that, we decide on biopsy to be done or not. That decision is better taken by the specialist doctor. So it's better the patient should come to the specialist early.
Yes. So in summary, if you have luminal cancer, that means you have cancer in esophagus, stomach, colon, rectum. There is needed, biopsy is needed. It is mandatory and it is taken through colonoscope or endoscope, and there is no chance of spread of cancer cell. But in some situation like gallbladder cancer, there is no mandatory rule to take a biopsy. It is all diagnosis by looking at the CT scan or ultrasound. Okay. There is another myth that if surgery is done on a cancer patient, there is a dissemination or spreading of cancer.
So this is really wrong, because this is the only chance of cure, because most of this GI tract cancers, they are surgical disease. So if they are operable, it has to be operated, but it
Yes.
has to be operated in a proper manner. That means not only the tumor, it has come with all the lymph nodes, sometimes with the associated other involved organs. So it isn't basically it's a complex disease. Many of the times it's a complex disease, and it needs involvement of multidisciplinary team members like radiation oncology, medical oncology, GI radiology, medical gastroenterology, surgical gastroenterology. So what we do at Narayana Super Specialty Hospitals, we always, any cancers, any GI cancers, we always take a combined decisions. All the decisions are made in the multidisciplinary team, these things. So it is the MDT which, in the MDT we decide the plan of treatment, and that is individualistic. I mean, the same treatment may not be offered to all patients, because the different patients come in a different stage. So depending on the stage and the presentation, sometimes we have to differ in our approach also. So we always make it in a MDT meeting.
So the options of cancer treatment are various. That is surgery, that is chemotherapy, that is radiotherapy, and what treatment will be given to the patient, it will all depend on the stage of the disease and the condition of the patient also. So anyone, if you think that surgery can cause spread of the disease, it is truly a myth. Another thing is that sometimes patient ask that what is the stage of the disease by looking at the CT scan. So can you always tell the stage of the disease?
Yeah, see,
before
always,
surgery?
the CTs, most of the times we need either CT or MRI for our GCD patients. And the idea is to rule out the frank metastatic disease, because if it is a 5 millimeter or more in size, definitely we can pick it up with a CT scan, with the present generation CT scan. We cannot pick up tumors or the spread if it is less than 5 millimeter. So for some of them we do a diagnostic laparoscopy, or sometimes even PET CT also. But otherwise, for most of the patients, we need a CT scan just to stage the disease. That means it's a localized one, or it has a spread to liver or lungs. Commonly, we want to see that. Okay.
So, what is believed among the common people, the stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sometimes I have heard the stage 6 of the disease, but it is completely myth. Before operation, we cannot stage the disease, and after operation, there is a biopsy, and biopsy report will tell us what is the exact pathological stage 1, 2, 3. Or 4, and sometimes pre-operatively we can diagnose stage 4 disease if it is obvious dissemination or spreading of the tumor cells,
like a spread to liver, spread to lung, or some petrol disease. So sometimes we can pick up the metastatic disease at by the initial
ultrasound scan also.
Sometimes with the ultrasound scan also. So with the initial imaging, if we can pick up the metastatic disease or plan changes.
People often think that PET scan is 100% sensitive in picking up metastatic.
It's not like that. I mean, we need a PET scan for very selective cases. Like for esophagus, C. esophagus, which the disease which has a good chance of spread to other organs. Like in C. esophagus, mostly we do PET CT. But certainly, if it is an mesosecreting adenocarcinoma stomach, we are not going to do PET CT, because the lesions are not picked up in the PET CT. So depending on the site, sometimes we go for PET CT, but it's not that 100% patients has to do as PET CT. It's not like that.
Yes, very true. And when do you consider the patient as a cure after the surgery?
Again, yeah. So I mean, obviously, for any type of cancer surgery, we normally go for a follow-up. So at least we should look for 5-year disease-free survival. So that all depends on once we operate on the patients and we see the biopsy report, and then after a certain period of follow-up we can say yes, the patient is doing well. But definitely there are some criteria in the biopsy or in the pre-op imaging or the part-op findings which will guide us to decide whether this patient has high chance of recurrence or not. If the patient has very high chance of recurrence, obviously we will be doing intensive follow-up. Otherwise, there is some protocol for follow-up of these patients. Normally 5 years, normally we want to see.
Yes, because the intention of the surgery is to cure the patient, but often in the biopsy report there are multiple factors which can predict the recurrence of the tumor. That's why we often tell the patients to follow up regularly in regular interval up to 5 years. So within 5 years there is a chance of recurrence. Do follow up after any surgery. Often we do adjuvant chemotherapy to minimize the recurrence chances. So often patient comes with unresectable stage.
Yeah, so this is very true, because sometimes the patient comes with an advanced stage of the disease, or on evaluation we find that patient has metastatic disease. In that case, obviously our goal of treatment will be not curative and the palliative, and we have a good palliative care department also, because these patients most of the times have pain which is sometimes unbearable. So the pain management should be really good. So for that, I mean, we have a good specialist team of doctors who takes care of the pain of these cancer patients. So that is also very important to, because these patients has very limited number of days in their life. So for this limited number of days, they have to be really pain free. And if they have other symptoms, we should target to alleviate those symptoms only. Obviously, cure is not our target for obviously metastatic disease. We should just help them live without the pain or without the distress they are having.
Exactly. So in broadly, the treatment of cancer is curative in one side, and
Yeah.
one side it is palliative.
Palliative also.
So those patients where the cancer has already spread to distant organ, then we think about the palliative treatment. Palliative means palliation of the symptoms. When the symptoms arise in the form of jaundice, we do palliate by ERCP stenting or biliary drainage, percutaneous biliary drainage. When the symptoms is itching only and nothing that, then we palliate only the itching. When there is only pain, palliate only the pain. Sometimes patient present with obstruction, then palliative surgery may be needed. Right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So basically, cancer, any type of cancer, and definitely GI cancers also. So they need different types of specialists who they should work in as an unit. So there are different divisions of this unit, like GI surgery, GI medicine, medical oncology, radiation oncology, GI radiology, intervention radiology, and also the pain and palliative care specialty, and GI anesthesia. We have a very good onco anesthesia team, and they have started their fellowship also. So we are really, I mean, privileged to work in this onco anesthesia oriented anesthesia team, because mostly these surgeries, they take time. They're all long surgeries requiring multiple blood transfusions. We must say that we have a very good GI anesthesia team who are exposed to and handle cancers of any organ of the body. I mean, right from neuro to ortho to onco and GI, everything. So in that way, we are really privileged. So this multi-disciplinary team, which is important in managing cancers. Whatever support we needed, and obviously GI pathology also, because they are the backbone.
Yes.
Ultimate diagnosis comes from them. So because sometimes we have to go for biopsy during surgery also, which we call a frozen biopsy. So we have fantastic support from them also, GI pathology also. So this is we are like a bouquet, like a flower. So different flowers give different fragrance.
So cancer treatment is particularly a multi-modality treatment, which include a number of departments.
Yeah.
And Narayana Health has all the departments under one roof. So it is a sort of institution of cancer. So be safe in the pandemic situations. Consult your doctor early if you have bad symptoms like anorexia, weight loss, GI bleeding, and stay home, stay safe. Thank you.